Good evening there, everybody. What is happening? Hopefully, you all are having a wonderful day today. I thought that I would talk about this upcoming fight, another big heavyweight fight that's going to be happening on May 1st. Unfortunately, I won't be able to really watch this one because I won't be getting this on pay per view. We gotta, buy it for UFC 261, I believe it is. So we gotta buy that fight instead of this one. And on top of that, there's a free big fight, bigger fight even on the zone. If you guys have that between Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora, very big fight between those guys. So I would prefer, uh, overall, if don't waste your money on that. In my opinion, now maybe a certain amount of people would not agree, but that's just the way that I look at it. So I won't be giving a fight review on this until I can probably see the full fight for myself, but I am going to be giving a fight prediction because I just love giving fight predictions, and I do think that Andrew Ruiz Jr. his return is decently big. But to me, there's just not much to break down in this fight. So Andrew Ruiz Jr. This is really, we're just kind of here to really see if he's made any improvements. But this is also a fight to where it's really tough to know how many improvements he's made, because I don't think Chris Arreola is really going to be a fighter that's going to expose Andrew Ruiz Jr. in a lot of areas. Now, maybe I'm wrong, because to be honest with you, the way that I see Chris Arreola trying to fight Andrew Ruiz Jr. is the way that I've seen him try to fight a bunch of people as of late, and really for a good majority of his career, which is try to go in there, out brawl him. And especially at the age of, what is he, 40 years old now? If you take a look at Chris Arreola in about his past 10 fights, he's just really not been all that impressive. He has a couple of wins here and there, but they're not really over against huge top contending guys. And even against some of the lower tier guys, he hasn't really looked overly impressive. I can't mention a fight recently where I was overly impressed with Chris Arreola. And to be honest with you, I think he's going to go in there. I think he's going to try to go on the inside. I think he's going to try to get in shape. I think that, he's going to try his best. But I think it's going to be in vain at the end of the day, man. I don't think Chris Arreola really has much in this fight. I think Andrew Ruiz Jr. is going to completely outbox him. I think they're both pretty much going to go to war. I think there's a possibility that Andrew Ruiz might try to outbox him from the outside, but we'll see. I haven't really seen Andrew Ruiz do that before. He's usually a pressure fighter. And to be honest, I think Andrew Ruiz, he just beats him in every category. I think he beats him in hand speed. I think he beats him in strength. I think he's always beat him in skill. I think peak Andrew Ruiz is greater than Chris Arreola in his best days. And I think that his best days are behind him, to be quite honest with you. I'm a little bit surprised that this is the fight that's happening next, but at the same time, I see why, because, well, not only is it a comeback fight for Andrew Ruiz, and I do like the change. I do like the corner change now that he's with the Canelo team, Eddie Reynoso and those boys. I believe Oscar Valdez also was with them, and Ryan Garcia. If I'm wrong about Ryan Garcia, then correct me. But he's with the Canelo team, and I like that. Eddie Reynoso, I think, is a very good trainer. I think that he's going to teach him how to get in shape a little bit. And one thing I do hope to see with Andrew Ruiz a little bit later on down the line, and we're not really going to see this until he's in there with other fighters that might be able to expose his flaws. I think to beat an Andrew Ruiz, you're going to kind of have to box around him, because it's going to be very hard to beat him on the inside. I don't know if there's a fighter out there actually right now that can beat Andrew Ruiz on the inside, and a certain amount of people may disagree. Maybe Dillian White, maybe, but I don't even know if I would chance it. I think Dillian White would even have to move around him, and a certain amount of people would say, well, what about, Anthony Joshua and a couple of those guys? Well, we seen what happened in the first Anthony Joshua fight, and it's not that Anthony Joshua, I don't think, could possibly have his moments on the inside with Ruiz. I think Anthony Joshua, actually, for his size, is a very great inside fighter with some of those smaller guys, but you seen what happened in the first fight. You don't necessarily want to risk it. Ruiz has decent power, he has decent speed, but when it comes to this fight, man, I just don't see Chris Arreola outlasting 6 rounds. I think Ruiz has the power. I think he has the speed, and even, he's a bit chubby, sure. He seems to be, from what I've seen from the videos, getting in better condition. I think Eddie Reynoso is going to steer him in the right direction. And on top of that, man, he actually doesn't seem to have a bad gas tank for how flabby he can be. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I think that Andy Ruiz is going to dominate this fight. I don't think there's really a reason for me to buy this pay-per-view card, because I don't really see it as an A-class pay-per-view card. I'm really surprised that this really even is on pay-per-view, to be quite honest with you. But it is what it is. I guess they think that they can make a pay-per-view start out of Andy Ruiz, especially since he beat Anthony Joshua a few years back. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know, but I got to go with my boy Andy Ruiz on this one. But I'm just really excited about his future, and I know they say never look past an opponent. Hopefully, that's not what Andy Ruiz is doing. But I don't. I just don't see what Chris Arreola can really bring to the table that beats Andy Ruiz. I think Andy Ruiz, is. I just think that he's a much greater fighter, to be honest with you, especially at this point in his career. But it's an intriguing fight for many because Chris Arreola actually used to kind of be in that position that Andy Ruiz was in, where he used to be the Mexican American fighter that was looked at as the next possible heavyweight champion of the world, the first, Mexican American or Mexican fighter that was going to be the heavyweight champion of the world, the first one. Then it ended up being Andy Ruiz when he beat Anthony Joshua. But I just don't see what Chris Arreola does in this fight. I think he's going to go right in there and try to charge him. I don't think that's going to work very well. I think that he's 40 years old. I haven't really seen him overly competitive in a certain amount of high-class fights, maybe in the Kwanaki fight, but I would have to rewatch that fight. It's been a while since I've watched that one, but I remember the Polish fighter won that one. I would have to see, but maybe that one was slightly competitive. I can't remember. One of you guys will have to let me know on that. But pretty much in a lot of his other big fights, I haven't been overly impressed with them. So I got to go with my guy Andrew Ruiz on this one. I think he's going to knock him out. I think he's going to knock him out within 6 rounds. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. Let me know what you guys think. And who would you really like to see Andrew Ruiz face next after this? Because that's kind of the thing that I'm wondering next. I would love to see him face a Luis Ortiz, maybe a Povetkin, a Dillian White fight I think would be great. But the fight that I really want to see Andrew Ruiz in, a fight that I think would create fireworks, a fight that is about 60-40, even though I'd favor a fighter actually not named Andrew Ruiz, but I still think Andrew Ruiz would have a chance in, is a Deontay Wilder fight. I would love to see Deontay Wilder versus Andrew Ruiz. Would love to see that fight. I think Deontay Wilder has some faults that maybe Andrew Ruiz could expose. Deontay Wilder could expose some of Ruiz's faults as well. I think that's a great matchup. I would love to personally see that. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is going to win this fight and why? I'm guessing that it's most likely Ruiz, but let me know anyway. And who would you love to see him fight after this? Which potential fight are you overall excited to see? And do you think Eddie Reynoso is a good change? Do you think he should have stuck with his old trainer, or do you think that they're really going to improve Andrew Ruiz? What improvements do you think he needs to make? And that's really what I want to know. In my opinion, I think he needs to cut off the ring a little bit better and have faster foot speed. But we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting, but I don't think we're really going to see much improvements with Andy Ruiz until we see him in there with greater competition, or at least see what he's improved. So we'll see what happens. But that's my prediction, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all so much for the recent subscriptions and likes on my videos and viewings. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to y'all later, and that's it for today.